if you're a smart marketer, both of those paths will lead to the conversion event that you want the person to do, but it will be a differently structured conversation.
Welcome to the Chatbot Podcast, the place where we talk about bots, artificial intelligence, smart automation, and messenger marketing. We value our time and enjoy when technology makes our lives easier. And now your host, Balint Pataki.
Hello and welcome to the fourth episode. When I started out with chatbots, I actually started to learn how to code so I can deploy Facebook apps to my Facebook business pages. Not a good idea coming from a marketing background. Fortunately, I quickly discovered that there is a way to utilize third-party software that take care of the technology. So I could concentrate on what mattered for me, crafting the messages, designing conversations, and so on. Today's guest is Mikael Yang, the CEO of ManyChat, which is one of the best tools for messenger marketing out there. If you haven't heard about it before, make sure to read my review article on chatbottutorial.com/ManyChat-review. In this episode, we will give you practical tips on how to utilize messenger marketing, expand our thoughts on the future of Messenger as a communication platform, and also reveal some upcoming features of ManyChat. Please welcome to the show, Mikael Yang. Thank you and welcome to the podcast. Thank you that you made time again and accepted my invitation. Many of us are familiar with ManyChat and your work in ManyChat, but can you just give us a little bit of background? Where are you coming from? How did you come to bots and the idea of establishing a company in this niche?
Sure. So ManyChat is a messenger marketing platform, and we help small and medium businesses do marketing, sales, and support through Facebook Messenger. Right now, we power over 100,000 businesses in over 100 countries around the world. And we started this in 2015 when Telegram Messenger opened up their API. And that was Telegram Messenger, for those listeners who don't know, it's a messenger that is popular in other countries, solves the same problems as WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. And Telegram opened up their API in July 2015. And we've created a platform for broadcasting messages to your Telegram bot subscribers because we saw an opportunity to give people an option to communicate one-to-many through this channel. And before that, the only thing that people were doing on messengers is basically communicating one-on-one or in small groups. So this concept of broadcasting messages to many people through Messenger was still not known to anyone. And we've built a platform that made it really easy to do it and grew virally. When Facebook, a year later, when Facebook opened up their API, we just knew what had to be done on that platform. And we built ManyChat for Facebook Messenger, and now we are powering Messenger businesses, helping them do marketing through this channel. And the reason to switch over or to add Messenger to your marketing mix is because you are getting 10x engagement than through channels like email.
I think we will talk about the engagement rate a little bit later.
Sure.
What was your first bot experience? Was it via Telegram, these, so to say, newsletters or brand communication, or was that something else that made you curious?
So my first bot experience was, I think, the first bot experiences were in the times of ICQ and IRC, wherein there would be these artificial entities, these bots that would perform some kinds of actions inside a group chat. For example, they could count your karma or they could facilitate an exchange between the groups, between the participants inside the group. Also, I remember there was a bot on the public servers of Warcraft for computing the Defense of the Ancients rating. So you could ask that bot, "What's my rating? What's that person's rating?" etc. So that would be the first encounters of bots. And if we were talking about specifically bots on messengers, that would be Telegram. Yeah.
So you started out with Telegram. Did you already see that probably it will drag along other platforms as well, and possibly bigger platforms, or you were already excited that Telegram is big enough to have a huge opportunity in this space?
Sure. I think both things are correct. So we saw how all the platforms would eventually need to open up their APIs, because if you want businesses to be on your platform, you got to give them the tools to communicate with their customers. And the fastest way to do that is to open up the APIs and give the third-party developers an ability to create those tools for the businesses and to market and sell them. And but still, we were already excited about Telegram itself, because the platform had at that point, was like 60, 70 million users. Right now, it's over 100 million users. And it was already an interesting market for us to start working in. But of course, when Facebook Messenger opened up, that's an even bigger market. So if you have scarce resources, you gotta make a decision where you're gonna play.
So you had a head start in this race to build platforms without coding knowledge, because that's where most people are. They are either small business or marketers, and they don't have the coding knowledge, but they still want to participate in messenger marketing. And since you started, the market grew a little bit. Can you tell us how it changed? How you said already that you have already over 100,000 bots or businesses.
Yeah.
What was your market share? Is that a public thing, or?
We don't know the market share because we don't know the total number of bots, but I'm sure it's pretty high. In terms of messenger marketing, we're the number one platform. And in terms of the number of bots connected, I don't know the stats of the other platforms, but I'm pretty sure we're somewhere in the top. And what was the other question? Oh, how the market has matured.
Yes.
Yeah, it started out with people just, first of all, when we transitioned from Telegram to our focus on Facebook Messenger, we asked ourselves, do we want to build this massive platform where anybody can build a bot, or do we want to narrow it down to a specific set of customers and build the perfect platform for them? And our decision was to narrow it down to the businesses, to marketers who actually want to get results for their business, who want to get leads, who want to nurture those leads, who want to convert those leads, and who want to retain those leads, and if they're those customers, and to provide a better customer service for them. So our niche was specifically business use cases and marketing use cases. And we started with that, and the market has matured quite a bit over time, because at start there were all these early adopters, innovators, who are just trying things out, who are really excited about the platform, who've heard a lot about this bot hype, and who are just they thought that bots are cool and they need to learn about them. And that's really that was the first people that came onto the platform and were trying to use it in the first half a year. Of course, when you have people who are just coming in because they're curious, those people are not going to stick. Those people don't have an actual use case in their mind. They don't need a problem solved. They are just excited and that's fun. But like, if you want to capture value, if you want to bring value and then capture some of that value, you gotta solve an actual business use case. And that's when marketers started discovering us and actually sharing uh, their results with everyone, because a marketer would come and would get 300% ROI, 400% ROI. Like, there is an article by Digital Marketer about 500% ROI. And they would just, if a lot of them were educators, were experts in the field who were just looking for new channels for things that, for untapped opportunities. And when they got those results, they just went out and told everyone about it. And that was the thing that drove our growth in the beginning. It's the marketers getting results and sharing it with other people.
Actually, I like that you said that, because that was my motivation as well. When I learned about chatbots, I was like, yeah, that's cool in a way. And when Facebook opened up their platform to advertise directly into Messenger, so Messenger became an ad destination where people clicked on the image and they got a Messenger message. I was like, okay, now this is something I really have to explore. And yeah, then I actually established this company and a podcast from it.
Yeah.
I actually can recall that you referenced your company as a messenger marketing, more like messenger marketing and automation company than to bot company. Do you think that these bot automations are just not there yet, as Facebook also a little bit scaled down with the user input and enabled that you can even forbid the users that they directly type into the messenger?
Yes and no. So first of all, yes, we saw that from our Telegram experience, that bots are not about like direct communication, chatting, or all that. Of course, there are use cases for that kind of interaction, but for the most part, like, you just want to get the job done. The customer has some kind of a request. They want to book. They want to get the info. They want to uh, order. Uh, they have something that they want from the business, and that's why they're talking to this business. They're not there to have a chat with your bit. Like, some of them are, but like 90% of them are there. Like, it has to solve some actual problem for them. And the quickest way to solve a problem is to provide a graphical user interface. Like, when you encounter just an input where you can type anything, like, the question that's in your mind is this thing going to understand me? What can I type here? And without examples, you don't know what you can type. And then the machine starts to ask you some more questions, because it needs to process that into like an actual thing, an actual request that it can forward to an API or something, or to or to a human. So interact with the bots, and that
Sorry,
buttons.
can you say it again? I lagged a bit.
Okay, so
just the last two sentences.
Yeah, so we discovered that typing is not the best way to interact with the bots, and that buttons are much more efficient and much more understandable, like much more convenient for the customers, and much better for the businesses, because it's easier to set up, it's easier to analyze the engagements, etc. So when we started doing messenger marketing on Facebook, we didn't have any way to interact with the bot besides the buttons. Now we already have some forms of input where people can actually type stuff in, because there are cases where that is very valuable. And of course, there are going to be more and more done through this kind of automation. But I don't think that buttons are going anywhere, because it's much more convenient to just press something and get it than to type out your request. So that would be our stance. We think that both of those things are important, but right now you got to build from the basics.
Exactly, and in my opinion, people are a little bit passive on the side with all these smartphones and all these instant things. So it's probably they're like just the easiness of typing. If you have a question about duration, like do you plan to move in the next 6 months, 3 months, next year, whatever, it's just much easier to tap a button than type it out.
Yeah, of course.
As you mentioned that there has to be a use case. I really love how you asked me and probably many other marketers about what specific thing could make ManyChat better, what would be the use case of it. And I also noticed that you're the SEO of this tremendously growing company. You still take the time to keep a one-on-one contact with many people, and you suggest that they contact you via Messenger. And something I noticed that Messenger can be a little bit overloaded, like when you use it a lot and talk to a lot of people. And it's especially will be the case if there are like more and more brands come into it. So how do you see the future of Messenger itself from a user standpoint? Will there be more filters like in email? Would there be people probably signing up more accounts because of this? Or will there be plugins maybe like as Gmail has?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about information overload and like being subscribed and having too many conversations on Messenger, like I think there are two ways this can go. First is going to be a that people are going to organize their communication with brands themselves. So if they get overloaded with messages on Messenger, they will start unsubscribing from brands that they don't want to hear about. And the beauty of Messenger is that when you unsubscribe from some page, you never hear from that brand again. And it's not like email where you can just re-upload somebody into a database or use another service. So there's like zero spam on Messenger, and the customer is always in control who he's talking to. But we know that people are the product either works or the person doesn't use it. So I don't think that this is a very probable scenario where people will be curating their own. If they get too many messages on Messenger and they start to get a bad experience, it's gonna come down to two things. They're either gonna curate and delete the things that they don't need and they don't want, or they're gonna switch and use other messengers for communication with their people. The other thing is also not really probable because messengers have this gravitational pull of all the users who are already using those messengers. So if your friends and family and colleagues use Facebook Messenger, it's going to be really hard not to use it. So I think that the most probable scenario that's going to actually happen is that either nothing is going to change and you're just going to be talking to the brands that you want to talk, or Messenger is going to introduce a separate tab for the businesses. So you would have your personal conversations on one tab, and you're going to have your conversations with businesses on the other tab. That's a plausible. That thing I think is going to bring the open rates down because you're not going to see all the businesses. That tab is something that you can leave unread, and it's not going to affect right now it's really hard to leave messages unread on Messenger because you're trained that those messages are important, that they're coming from your friends, and if you have that red badge on your Messenger, you're checking it. Most people try to keep it on the zero. If you have a lot of things that are irrelevant, that don't require immediate action from you, like messages from the businesses, then that badge is going to become less meaningful. So I think there is a high probability that Facebook is going to introduce another tab for businesses. But when we talked to Facebook about it, they said that they have no plans to do that. I think it's if they see, the question is if they see a drop in customer like satisfaction, in user engagement, they will definitely do that, because the user engagement is the most precious thing for the Facebook Messenger team. If there are no users, there will be no businesses. So you got to watch out for the user. And right now there is just not a lot of businesses who are doing messenger marketing. Like, it's growing like crazy, but like 100,000 pages is nothing compared to 20 million Facebook pages that are using Messenger right now, just one-on-one. So when Facebook sees an increase in pages using Messenger marketing, and if they see a drop in user engagement, I think they will definitely introduce some kind of filters for people to get less messages, which is gonna affect the businesses, but is still going to leave messenger marketing the most engaging channel on the market, because it's not a matter of like what tab or something. It's a matter of, are people checking that channel or not? That's it.
Exactly. Just a couple of things that you mentioned. Like one of them is that it's going to stay because of the attention. But I think another thing that we don't have on other channels on the future is the integrations that we can set with businesses. So the instant scheduling for a dentist, for example, or having information about delivery in e-commerce or whatnot. So there's like more to this communication than the other communications, besides being it as a probably for in most countries, actually in most Western countries, the main source of communication between families and friends as of now. Another thing that you mentioned is that it's going to be probably like another tab and then drops the open rates and the engagement rate. And exactly that's the reason I suggest everyone to jump on it now, because there's like a bigger opportunity now. They have just more room to experience and to master this skill, because messenger marketing is different from email marketing. The communication is different, and you have to learn it in a way. What would you suggest for marketers that jump on messenger marketing? How do they learn the craft of making these probably smaller messages a little bit more relaxed or laid back style of messages?
Yeah, I think you've mentioned like two most important things, and every channel of communication has its own tone of voice and their own their own context of where that communication is happening. So Messenger happens in a channel where people are used to talking with their friends and family, and those communications are short, and those communications are less formal. So they're much more one-on-one, much more personal. And yeah, I would suggest experimenting, bringing down that tone of voice to like from formal to something much more casual, and keeping the messages shorter and making them interactive. That would be the third thing. Making them interactive, inserting buttons, inserting ways for the person to express themselves, because it's much more of a conversation and much less of a, here is this thing, like go and do something. It's much less direct. You should be, if you want to have that rapport with your audience, it should be, I think, more suggestive, like, hey, what do you think about this? And the person can express their opinion, and the conversation will like go down different paths. And like, if you're a smart marketer, both of those paths will lead to the conversion event that you want the person to do, but it will be a differently structured conversation. So for a person who is like, hey, are you only starting with bots, or are you already an advanced marketer? And they can say, I'm only starting, or I've already built like a lot of bots. And depending on that answer, you can position your product for that specific segment and say like, oh, if you're only starting out, we have the first 5 lessons are on the basic things. So you will learn everything from the from the beginning. And if you're there already an advanced user, you can say, oh, did you know that in the last 5 lessons, we are covering some really interesting and not widely known techniques and tips and tricks for advanced bot marketers. It's still the same product. It's still the same course, but you're talking to the needs of the customer. I'm not suggesting like you somehow mislead them. I'm suggesting that you provide them the value that they're looking for by positioning your product the way that is going to solve their problems. If the product in the end is solving the problem. If it's not, like, don't lie to your customers. That's a bad thing to do.
Exactly. I see it in a way that it should be like a win-win situation. And for marketers, we get to speak their language, so it's higher trust, higher conversion rates. And from their perspective, they get exactly what they want, and they don't have to tumble around stuff that is unuseful for them.
Yeah, think like a salesman. If the person comes to a salesman, he doesn't have this one script for like everyone that is just linear from A to point B. Like most salesmen, like, think about their customer. What does that customer need? Maybe you have 2 products. Maybe you have a product for the beginners and a product for advanced people. And if you get to know your customer, you can suggest them the product that fits best with their current needs. So I think that's the power of the bots. It's the ability to have that conversation and to basically get to know the customer, and then see how you or your business can provide value to that specific case of that customer.
Exactly, that's what I also often say, that it's like a one-on-one intimacy scaled. So like a salesman actually being there, but not limited to one person or just a couple of person in the room. So one of the most requested upcoming features for ManyChat was integration with Zapier, and you rolled out with it for a while. I was actually testing it in the beta, and it's awesome. We have many opportunities to link different software. So if someone doesn't know, Zapier is a software that enables you to connect different softwares together and pass through information through them. So one of the use cases I often use is integrating with an email service. So people are able to type their email addresses and then automatically put into a separate list on your newsletter software, and they get an email there. What are the best use cases that you've seen so far? It's been out for a couple of months, I guess.
Yeah, it's been out for 2 months, I think. The best use cases would be like to get the email. Marketers are worried about like Facebook controlling the communication and the channel between them and the customer. So marketers want to have a backup, and they do have a conversation open on Messenger, but they still ask for an email and put it in their list, so that in case something goes wrong, like, they still have the email of the person, which is totally understandable. It's like the channel is in beta, so like I think that's one of the most frequent use cases. The other one would be synchronizing with a CRM. So getting leads through Messenger, creating cards or like contacts in Infusionsoft, cards in Trello or something, and then tracking those cards and updating those cards as the conversation goes on. So that would be, I think, the second one. The third one would be like creating calculators and quizzes and like really sophisticated automations through the use of Zapier. So it's like for most people it will be too complicated to set up, but like you can do really sophisticated stuff through our Zapier integration. Basically, you can at any point inside the Messenger flow, you can ask Zapier, like you can trigger a Zap that will go out to an external service, get some data, and then send it back into ManyChat, which allows you to basically infinitely extend ManyChat to do anything. And like recently, just a few weeks ago, we released a new version of Zapier integration, which allows you to, first of all, search by custom field. So now if the person fills out their email, for example, or a phone number in Messenger, and you already have them in some kind of a database, like in your own CRM with their phone number or email, you can configure a link between the CRM and ManyChat, and based on that email, for example, or that phone number, you can find the person. Like, for example, if the person moved inside the CRM to the next stage, you can actually go to ManyChat, find that person by the email, and then send them a message or subscribe them to a sequence or do something. So that's pretty huge in terms of like the ability to synchronize between systems. And the second thing is you can now send not only text messages from Zapier, but you can now actually trigger whole flows with like cards and buttons and galleries, etc., right from Zapier and through Messenger. So yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Actually.
Yeah, I'm actually like obsessed with all these automation opportunities, and it also provides an easy way to have something from the offline world into the online world. So one of the things is like events where people have these lists, and you can have like this Google sheet, for example, and you're able to track who attended the event and what they were interested in, and exactly what you said, like put them on a sequence on an automation.
Yeah.
What are some things that Facebook doesn't allow you that you would love to build, but there are some limitations that are coming from the Messenger side? For example, typical would be like having only 3 button options, or some limits.
Yeah, I think like the things that you can do right now, we're only scratching the surface with what you can do with Messenger.
Agreed.
Like there is nothing, like there's no one thing that's I'm like, only if we had this, then we would give so much more value. Like we are like the things that that are already possible with the Messenger platform are like infinite in possibilities. So I think like the only thing that comes to me, like being able to trigger a URL from a quick reply. So right now, quick reply can only trigger a message. Like it would be cool if like the person pressing on the quick reply could open WebView, but like it's not a huge thing. Like it's not something that I would be like, oh, this is like we're right now using Messenger possibilities to, I think, about like 5% of what's possible with it. So it's much more about us building a platform and like creating the use cases, creating the templates, creating the guides for marketers, for agencies, for businesses to enable them to get more, like to become closer to their customers.
Talking about that, so you can expand greatly on the already available messenger functions. What's coming up with ManyChat? I know we actually had a talk about this early summer, I guess, when talked about like how cool would it be to filter people and have different flows for them. So if, as you talked, like they are interested in different like bot marketer than just a starter would have way different messages than a advanced one. But after a while, you could have the same message for them, but you still filter them out. What's to know about this feature?
So definitely filtering and the ability to do logic inside the flows is something that is coming up really soon. We are already working on it, so it's not like a thing on the roadmap that's going to come sometime. We're right now working on it, and we're going to release it soon. And that's one of that will like expand the things that are possible with Messenger a lot, because right now everything is very deterministic. So like a button leads to a message or leads to some actions or something. Now it will be much more, there will be much more flexibility. A button could lead to different messages based on who is pressing that button, which is opens up a lot of avenues for creativity in terms of like what marketers and business owners will be able to do with this.
Exactly, and some of the things that even Facebook provides, for example, the time zone. If we could just filter out, like, oh, you do a webinar, for example, and then you have an audience from across the globe, you can still filter them out and probably split it up into two parts, so it's not 4 a.m. in the middle of the night for them.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can actually do that already through, if you're talking about broadcasting, you will be able to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, you can target people pretty, like, really specifically. If you're talking about segmenting them out using like sequences or something, that's coming.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that. Thank you. I think I will jump into the community questions, because I told in Facebook groups that I will interview you. So Luis asked, what's a good frequency to target repeat customers without fatiguing them? So a little bit back about this fear of the people that there will be so many brand messages. How to do it as of now?
Yeah, we have, like, it depends on your bot. There is no like right one size fits all answer to this question. We have people who are broadcasting 2 times a day. We have people who are broadcasting once a month, and both are getting like great results. It depends on what people expect from your bot, how you've set those expectations, and do you have the content to broadcast like more frequently or less frequently. So the bot that I'm talking about that broadcasts twice a day is a bot that specifically says, like, I'm going to send you news like in the morning and in the evening about this and that, and like this is how it works. So if you want to subscribe. If you don't, like, don't. If we're talking about like just businesses in general, like SMBs, restaurants, e-commerce or something, I would suggest that, like, if you're not creating content every day, if you're thinking about communicating with your audience, I would suggest something along the lines of once a week, once every 2 weeks, so that, like, you should provide value. If you don't have anything to say, just like, don't just send something because like you feel that you have to talk to your audience. Like, if you don't have anything to say, like, don't talk, like, or create something that's going to be interesting for your audience, but don't like just have a schedule and like, okay, we got to send something to this week, so like let's send something. People are just like you, like they want to get value. They want to like be spammed with like irrelevant messages that don't have any meaning. So if you think about people like think about what would be interesting to you, like, and uh, just the golden rule, man. It's just like market to other people as you would want to be marketed to.
Exactly. I actually wanted to add it, but you said it perfectly. And one of the other things is that you can ask them, like you can segment them on that and filter them out. You can send for some people once a week. You can send for some people twice a day. It's totally possible.
Yep.
So
and then use that targeting to send the messages to people who wants to get twice a day. You send twice a day.
Definitely. And if you have like some conversion in mind in the future, you can also rate these people how active they are. There are some awesome features of ManyChat. Probably some people don't know, but it's like, what was the last interaction? Like you can re-engage them and ask what's going on. Is it not actual for you anymore? And then they open up in many cases that they, oh, actually I like this, but right now blah blah blah, and then you have a conversation and you can get to know your customers better. So Sinan asked, what are the best practices for e-commerce businesses?
Best practices for e-commerce businesses. I think e-commerce businesses should first figure out like just the channel itself. So I've seen two approaches. First, treat it as a better email. Like send shipping notifications, send receipts, send updates about like what's in stock, like when, or I've seen people do cart abandonment through this. So there's lots of things that you can do through Messenger that are right now done through email and with much greater with greater success. The other thing is use Messenger for live chat. So actually talk to your subscribers, actually talk to your potential customers or customers who have already bought something. And that's like what Messenger is made for. Like email is less convenient in terms of like one-on-one communication. It's much more, it's slower and it's bulky in terms of like you have a signature, you have an intro, like it's not this easy fast thing that is really lightweight that you can do on the go. So I think using Messenger as a live chat communication tool will be one of the things that e-commerces will start doing more and more over the next year.
Awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, like email is like the electronic mail, and Messenger is like sending just messages and chat application. That's good to put into perspective. One of the things that Facebook is probably a little bit unsure about or causes a lot of confusion is the 24-hour rule. So Daryl asks what opportunities are for marketers to message people who specifically want to be on your notification list, but they haven't interacted with your bots in 24 hours, but you want to send a promotion.
Yeah, that is, they've made it really clear that even if people subscribe to your promotions, you cannot send them. Like what you can do, I think that is, I would have to check with the Messenger like policy team, but I think what can be done is you can tell them, hey, do you want to get a reminder whenever we have news for you? Or do you want to get a reminder like every Tuesday 10 a.m.? And if they say yes, then you can send them a reminder which doesn't contain the promotion. And then when they click on the reminder, like saying like, hey, like open the reminder or like check the reminder, and then they've interacted with the bot, and then the 24-hour rule opens up, and then you can send the promotion aside like as a response to that click. So I don't think that solved the like initial thing. But if they're really into the bot and they actually want to get the notifications, they like you could set up this system like this. But Facebook, I think Facebook is going to come up with a system to actually send promotional messages after the 24-hour rule. There's got to be like something, and I think that's just going to be the way that they make money, is like by just having some kind of a paid way to send messages. Actually, they already have a paid way to send messages. It's called sponsored messages, but
Exactly.
it doesn't. I don't think that is working for the market, because it works more like ads, and you don't control who gets the message. You don't control when they get it. It's like, hey, just show some people that interacted with my bot this message, and you're just like, maybe someone will see it.
Yeah, probably the best, like if they introduce that, that would be very good to have, for example, the tagging system from ManyChat. If they limit it and somehow import it into the Facebook, I don't know what will be, it's probably like the ad or Facebook broadcasting for payments, whatever. And then you can have your segmented lists there as well.
Yeah. Or like, but yeah, let's not get into the secret stuff, but there is going to be, I think, some way to pay for the interactions that are promotional.
Mm-hmm. And just adding to this, one of the things that I came up with is asking user questions, because in many of the sales processes, it's all about getting to know your customers in a way. And I think like when you can cleverly form a question and it's not directly related to the promotion, but helps you get your customers better and get to know them better, and after they answer, they probably have the interest as well. So if they don't answer, they probably don't have the interest anyways. And if they answer, it's you're within the 24 hours. So that's a good time to send your promotion as a after follow-up.
Yeah.
One of the questions are about if you have any special tips about list segmentations. I found list segmentations are very important. And what do you see? What users are do? What are the best practices on that?
Yeah, so we've introduced like some of the really important ways to segment your list based on the interactions that the user had. So not only like you can tag people based on the way that they've pressed or didn't press any buttons, but also the way that you can actually segment that list afterwards based on those tags, based on the growth tool that they've entered the bot into through, or based on the last user or the first user interaction inside the bot. So, for example, you could only target people who have interacted with the bot in the last like week to get the most recent users, or you can have the people who have interacted with the bot in the last week but also signed up a few months ago. So you're now getting active users who are your regulars. Or you can segment the users who've not interacted with the bot in the past 3 weeks. So you're getting the slipping away users who are like been active but now are not. So that there are definitely some really interesting ways to segment users, and I think segmentation is really key to sending relevant messages to the right users at the right time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Every time I want to create a segmentation, I think about how can I make my messages more personal and segment them according to that. So if they have like two different interests, then segment according to the interest as well. Steven asks, what are the biggest mistakes that are made by messenger marketers as of now?
I think treating messenger marketing as an email marketing the same way. I think we always compare messenger marketing to email marketing, but like as any new channel, you gotta adopt to the medium. And it's much more personal. It's much more shorter form. It's much more engaging, much more visual. You got to use pictures. You got to use GIFs. You got to use emojis. You got to be informal because it's freaking Messenger. It's where your friends talk to you. There's like, you shouldn't be talking like a business, like really, like maybe you should, maybe that's your style, but like most of the businesses should be much more informal. It's a private, friendly means of communication, and you got to stay short. You got to stay engaging. You got to use buttons. In email, you got to send, like, if you have something to say, like a lot of things, you send a long email. On Messenger, you don't send a long message. You send a short message with the outline, and then you attach like buttons to it, and the buttons then open up other messages. So yeah, there are, like, I would say the number one mistake would be not adopting to the medium.
That's great. What were the funniest situations that have arisen out of Messenger marketing? Did you see something like it was surprisingly funny or good solutions?
So some of the surprising situations is that some people think that they're talking to bots, and most of the time their messages are actually getting read by humans. So that creates some really uncomfortable situations when, for example, man could send some pictures to the supposed bot, which is not a bot, but an actual person looking at those pictures. So our support team, quite frankly, has to sometimes go through those unsolicited personal photos, as I might call them.
Politically correctly.
So, yeah. So I think it's gonna be like there is a lot of fun things. People behave much like really different when they think that they're talking to a bot, whether compared to when they think that they're talking to a human. They're much more they know that the bot, like, or assume maybe in the future bots will have feelings, but right now they know that the bot doesn't have feelings, so they're much more direct and cruel, not cruel, but just not that much less kindness towards the bot. They say mean things to the bots. So I think that those kinds of situations could be considered funny when you read through them. But yeah, I would that would be my answer.
Yeah, sometimes I'm very surprised when I look at manually on the messages and I, wow, what did you do here?
Yeah, why?
Yeah. How important? Sorry, go on.
Sometimes we want to just, like, people think that, like, for some reason people think that those conversations, like, they're talking to a business. They know that it's like it's a business page. They're sending messages to a business. So they know that those conversations aren't, like, some way private or something, because businesses have different people working in support, etc. So sometimes when people post like particularly, like, really mean things to the bot, you just want to go, like, screenshot that and maybe, like, send them a reply, hey, like, just don't do it. Like, we are actually people sitting here.
Yeah. I actually set up a standard message in the Facebook inbox that please mind your language. Like,
oh yeah.
Actually, one of the things that I appreciate about you, like, also comes along with the marketing focus that ManyChat has, is that you said, like, you're most likely in a messenger marketing platform and not a bot building platform in a way.
Yeah.
So how important do you think that it's that people are forward about, like, are you talking to a bot or the messages are answered by people, because with these buttons and instant answers, sometimes there's this confusion and people are unsure about that. How open should the businesses be about that?
I think they should be pretty open. Like it there are buttons. Like people don't send like buttons to each other. People send messages and they talk and they communicate and they like figure out what they're gonna do together. So I don't think that it's a secret that whenever you're getting a message with buttons, like it's a it's a automated entity talking to you. Um, so yeah, I think it should be noted that like sometimes it's going to be a bot, sometimes it's going to be a person, and the difference should be clear to the customer so that they know like what to expect and how to interact with this either a person or a bot. So I don't think that marketers should be hiding the fact that this is an automated message. Like you're not hiding them, like, and it's not automated. Like someone, like if you're doing a broadcast, an email broadcast, is that an automated message? Like, yeah, it's going out to 1,000 people, but you wrote it, like you just wrote it. So I don't think that's automated. I think like sequences could be considered automated because like everyone is getting the same, but again, you wrote that message. Like if it's a, like consider an educational course, a 7-day crash course in Facebook marketing. Like you're signing up for the course and then you're getting the messages. Yes, the messages are automated, but uh, you're, as a person, you're expecting like that. Are you like, I don't think that somebody is expecting like the teacher to be there exactly 7 days after the person subscribed, sending them a personal message, uh, manually. So yeah, I think it's the distinction should be clear to the customer, and I think that it's already like there is already a lot of hints about is that bot speaking or is it a person speaking.
Exactly. That is always also my answer. Like it should be kind of obvious from the context, but what's going
Yeah.
on now. Because if they just engage with the bot and they have personal questions and they get an answer, even if I don't sign it, it's a personal question answer in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes people start to talk through live chat with people and they're saying like, is that the bot asking me? And you're like, no, it's actually like, it's me, it's Mike. Like, I just want to know like this thing. And soon those are going to be bots. Like AI
Yeah.
is going to get to the next level um, where it's going to be like, okay, now we actually have to somehow make like sure that people are understanding who's like, is that the bot speaking or is it the person speaking?
Yeah, exactly. The way I do is if I answer in a timely manner, so it could be also a bot. Sometimes I just have
Yeah,
it open as a tab. I definitely sign it that it's me after the first message.
yeah.
But if we start a conversation, then yeah, they should know that it's me on the other side. Okay, thank you. These were the community questions, and I ask every guest of the podcast. There are so many interesting people in the industry developing chatbots, having knowledge about the marketing. Who would you nominate as our next guest?
I would nominate Molly Pittman. She started talking about messenger bots a long time ago, and uh, she's really, she knows about messenger marketing more than I do. She started doing a lot of content about it when nobody knew about ManyChat or messenger marketing specifically, and she knows like how to get results. She was the one to get 500% ROI for a digital marketer using messenger marketing. So definitely, I would nominate her.
Okay, thank you. I will definitely invite her because actually she was she made me check out ManyChat again after back in last year. I was like, oh yeah, it's good, but probably there are other options. And she was like always talking about ManyChat. I'm like, I should probably just give it a second try, and I didn't regret that. Thank you. So
Thank you.
if people are interested in ManyChat, what shall they do? What's the next step in a way?
Go to manychat.com. It's ManyChat.com, and check out ManyChat. It's free. Log in with Facebook. Connect like any page or create a test page. Doesn't matter. Just send your first broadcast to yourself. Just feel the power. Feel the power of having a way to send a message to all your like messenger subscribers, um, with this like visually without having to code anything. And if you want to grow your business, if your business is um, if you think that your subscribers, your customers are using Facebook Messenger, um, or just Facebook in general, um, just I think you will really like it. So the next step would be to go to ManyChat and get your. We have unlimited free plan. Like there is nothing to lose. It's just like go check it out. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, just like close the tab. Nothing happens.
Actually, I in my review article, that's the first thing I wrote about. Like ManyChat is like so easy to set up. You just like 2 clicks and there. Wow, I'm already there.
And we have a new onboarding in place. Which actually, did you see that?
I just saw the new landing page or like the new design of the page.
Yeah, like
But
if you connect, your account is already connected. Like if you see like one of your clients or somebody connect like their first page, you'll see that we have a new onboarding, which is pretty cool. It like walks you through setting up your welcome message, doing your first broadcast, and it's pretty awesome.
okay, probably next time I will just sit next to a client when
Yeah.
I show things around. Okay, amazing. Thank you for your time and that you shared your insights with us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
I hope you liked the interview. You can find the links and the full transcript of this episode at chatbottutorial.com/4. I would love to continue the discussion, so please comment under the post or leave us a review on iTunes to support the podcast. Also, you can ask questions for the upcoming episodes that me or my guests can answer for you. Just hop over to chatbottutorial.com/ask and we will record your question there. If you're interested in learning more about messenger marketing, I regularly host a free live training online. You can sign up via chatbottutorial.com/webinar. Thank you for your attention and talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining the Chatbot Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate us on iTunes and share it with others.